Is this working? Hello? 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 Are you there? All right. I hope this is working. So, in response to some of the recent claims that I might be an AI person, behold, I am not. I'm actually a middle-aged, bald, fat guy sitting at a computer doing some editing. Yay! All right. So, I still don't know if this is working. Oh, there's little ads. Look at that. Oh, there's me. There you go. I'm just looking on my phone to make sure the screen is actually happening. Let me know in the chat. I think that's the chat down there. I haven't done a stream for a long time, and I was mostly doing them for gaming for quite a while, so I'm a little bit out of the habit. I do apologize for that. All right. So, yeah, in response to people claiming I might be AI. Why are you not working? Because I'm grabbing the wrong file. That's why. Idiot. Grab the audio. There we are. Okay. Lovely. Oh, and where's all my lovely things? I don't know where my docs are. There you go. We want the essentials. Where the hell are they? What's going on now? Premiere's being very, very odd. We don't normally have to. All right, well that will do anyway. Not that that matters. Effect controls. See, this is unfortunately where you learn that I don't actually know much about what I'm doing. It's all brute force. I'm all self-taught, so I don't necessarily know what I'm doing or why it works. That's really what we paid Mache for. But he's a busy fellow, off doing university things in Poland where he lives. So there you go. So multiband compressor. That's the first thing we lay on, just to keep all the volumes sort of level. So when I'm recording, I don't have to worry too much about whispering or shouting or that sort of thing. My booth's just over there. You can't see it. Hang on a second. If that works. See, there's my booth. It's not actually set up. Those boxes down the bottom. That's all the microphones and whatnot. All the new tech that I haven't set up yet. Because I don't really know. It's all totally new tech to me. New microphone, new soundboard, new cables. The cables that I bought are almost as much as my original microphone back in the day. So it's all very exciting, but I don't know how it works yet. So multiband compressor. That's so I don't have to worry about if I have to shout or whisper or whatever when I'm in the booth recording, this will level all the volumes so it doesn't blast out your ear while you're listening to it. I used to have to do that manually, but then I learned I learned a few little tricks over the years. All right, now before we forget, we'll just go down to all my created thumbnails because this is chapter 19. Here we go. Voila! Eh? We got the little thumbnail there for the video. We had a company recently that reached out to me to say, hey, we'll find all the other websites where people are, stealing your stuff and track it down and make sure you're getting money from those websites. I was like, okay, great, sounds fine. They're not going to charge me. They just take a percentage of whatever they reclaim. So great, go do that. And then they came back afterwards saying, oh, you just do pictures. We don't cover pictures. Did you actually watch a video? The audio is the important bit. The picture is just over the top. But anyway, that's a little side thing. Little side thingy there. Okay, let's make sure this is okay. No, see, that took way too long. Oh, and Adobe's doing that annoying thing again. Oh, how frustrating. See, can you see how the little time bar here, the blue bar, it's not moving when I press play? So I don't know where I am until I stop. I already fixed that last time, but it's doing it again, so that's annoying. Oh well. No matter. No matter. Alright. The effects over there, that's great. That's all cool and dandy. Checking volumes again.
Chapter 19.
Way too quiet. Alright. So we set the game to -1. This is the sort of painstaking detail that goes into editing each and every chapter of these audiobooks. I did get a little bit annoyed when someone claimed I was AI. I understand, like, it's getting more and more, detailed and complicated and difficult to work out what's AI and what's not. So I'm not like super, laying blame or anything. But it was like, man, I've been doing this for, like, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. Look at the number of audiobooks that I've put out. It's not many. There's like 1 or 2 a year, because it takes me this long. Anyway.
Chapter 19. Certain First Principles.
It's still quite quiet, isn't it?
What's the matter? Asked Kemp when the
Maybe it's
invisible
just
man
my
admitted
headphones.
him. Nothing, was the answer. But confound it, the smash.
Alright, so the scene, setting the scene where we are. We are inside his office. From memory, we had a small fireplace representing a little gas lamp that he has firing, and a clock ticking, just the small clock. We have several different clocks, not the grandfather. Clock ticking long, that's the one. One of the advantages of spending years and years and years doing this job is that I now have quite a collection of sound effects that I've gathered over the years.
First Principles.
Oh my god, that's also loud. Why is that so quiet? I don't understand.
Certain First Principles.
No, that's still way, way, way too quiet. Alright, no. Go back, you idiot. Alright. Now why are you so quiet? Why is my workspace all messed up? It is, it's totally messed up. These things are not where they're supposed to be. I don't know why Adobe has suddenly decided to screw with me, other than the fact that it's Adobe and it likes to do that. Oh, get out of here. Come on, please. What are you doing? Alright, I don't care. Alright, moving on. We're going to do at least a little bit of actual freaking editing before we finish this video.
Chapter 19. Certain First Principles.
Alright, so where's my controls? There, okay. Alright, so we fade in to set the scene, and we have it nice and loud so you know where you are, but then we fade them out so they don't distract from what's being said, right? I think that clock is plenty loud enough. We might have to dim that a bit, actually.
First Principles.
Yeah, that's way too loud.
What's the matter? Asked Kemp when the invisible man admitted him. Nothing, was the answer. But confound it, the
Even quieter. Because it's a very hard-hitting, impactful noise, click, click. You have to have it quite quiet so it doesn't distract.
smash. Fit of temper, said the invisible
There we go.
man.
Okay.
Forgot this arm, and it's sore. You're rather liable to that sort of thing. I am. Kemp walked across the room and picked up the fragments of broken glass.
Okay, so there we have Some footsteps. The ever-present footsteps, the non-stop footsteps. Always, always, always. Now that's quite a good sound effect, but there's a lot of background noise there. You hear that? This is the trouble with working with free sound effects, because I don't make enough money out of this to buy sound effects. The really high quality sound effects are incredibly expensive, of course, as they should be. But when you have to work with, the sites that I work on, like here we are, freesound.org, which is brilliant, just an absolutely brilliant site. It is quite often just people recording on their phone or using some not very good microphone or just in an untreated area, so the sounds are not necessarily very good.
You're rather liable to that sort of thing. I am. Kemp walked across the room.
So what we have to do there is go to Essential Sound. I should just clean some of these up. Not loudness, not creative. We just want, clear the audio type. It says sound effect, but there's better stuff for this in dialogue, default. Here we go, enhance speech. See, we can leave that, leave the repair, turn all that off. Make sure everything else is turned off, creative turned off, right? All of that, because we just want the clarity, that's all. Okay, and then we'll enhance it. Enhance, enhance! And that should get rid of quite a lot of that background sound.
Kemp walked across the room and picked up the fragments of broken glass.
There you go. Now, to change the speed of the pace and also the sound of it, because I don't think Dr. Kemp is a particularly heavy-footed fellow.
That sort of thing? I am. Kemp walked across the room and picked up the fragment.
Right, that'll do there. And then we'll fade that out. Lovely. And then he picks up some bits of glass. So, glass bottles clinking, tapping a glass, cheers, hitting some glass, glass bottles break, and glass break. Okay, let's have a listen. No, no, no. They're all... Right, they're all very specifically breaking, right? Sort of shards being picked up. Sometimes if you cut off like the start of that, the heavy impact point, and you just have the tinkles, that might do the job. So we'll play with that if we have to, but we'll see if we can find something better first. You see? Like, these are longer. And if you cut off the impact, you have some nice little tinkle sounds. So I'm going to play with that. I put out a video a few years ago when I'm not very good at this now, but I was even worse back then, and I had to put one out saying, why does it take 2 weeks to put out every chapter? Well, because this, Oh, we have a comment from Pratik Sen. Steve, my man, your audiobook 1987, I assume 1984, was the best audiobook I'd ever listened to. Thank you so much for making such amazing content. You're very welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. Yeah, I feel a bit like what's Jack Black's band, Tenacious D? when they put out Tribute, that great song. It was their first song, and then they sort of said, well, we were ruined from then on because the first song we ever put out was the best song we ever made. So 1984 wasn't my first book, but I think it was my best. And it was pretty early on.
The fragments of broken glass.
Right, quieter. Much quieter.
Picked up the fragments of broken glass.
Maybe we fade in a bit for that one.
The fragments of broken glass.
And then another one. Clearly see that heavy impact at the start, right? So we'll get rid of that. And then we'll fade it in a little bit. I do wish Premiere would stop changing all my settings all the time. It's like every time you load this program, you sort of cross your fingers and hope that they haven't screwed everything up. Which, considering it cost me $30 a freaking month to use this program, you'd hope it would be better organized, but it's not.
The fragments of broken glass. Fragments of broken glass.
This speech file doesn't sound edited.
Across the room and picked up the fragments of broken glass.
There's me breathing there. No, this is the wrong file. I have got the wrong file. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. So we'll get the oldest one. No, that one should be right. 115, looking at the sizes, right? 115 meg, so it's smaller, so it's add more cutout. There you go, so we'll download that. Sorry about this, folks. It shouldn't take too long. There we go. Now we'll grab that and we'll stick it in the appropriate folder. Yes, replace that file. Thank you. And bring it back here. Oh yeah, that looks better already. So back to freaking wrong, goddamn stupid effects. Multiband compressor, please. Then we'll have to change that a bit. Boom, boom. Effect controls, multi-band compressor to broadcast is a lovely setting. I played around a lot to find that one. Does the job nicely for me. Set gain to -1 decibel. 0 is technically okay. -1 makes sure it's never going to clip. It will never, go above the red line. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's make sure there's timing and whatnot, because that already looks wrong to me. That dot where it starts fading out should be where that goes, the end of the initial description.
Chapter 19. Certain first principles.
So that sounds better already.
What's the matter? Asked Kemp when the Invisible Man admitted him. Nothing, was the answer. But confound it, the smash. Fit of temper, said the Invisible Man. Forgot this arm, and it's sore. You're rather liable to that sort of thing. I am. Kemp walked across the room and picked up the fragments of broken.
Okay, so it's not too slow. We'll bring it back a bit.
I am. Kemp walked across the room and picked up the fragments of broken glass. All the facts are out about you.
It's all much tighter. That's really what the editing of the master file is all about, just making it nice and tight, getting rid of any empty space, and of course deleting all breaths that aren't spoken by the character. Like if it's part of a line, then you can leave the breath in. But if it's just in narration or between lines or different characters, you have to delete that shit. I cannot stand it when narrators leave that stuff in. But of course, most narrators don't do their own editing. They have someone else doing that. Some sound engineer somewhere.
Kemp walked across the room and picked up the fragments of broken glass.
Now, that first bit of glass can come a bit earlier.
Fragments of broken glass. All the facts are out.
Yeah, no, even earlier. And the second bit will come earlier too. Don't know why this system is being so sluggish today.
Fragments of broken glass. All the facts are out of the fragments of broken
glass can start there. All right.
Picked up the fragments of broken glass. All the facts are out about you, said Kemp, standing up with the glass in his hand. All that happened.
Just a small gesture from my end for making us believe that audiobooks can be so much better and realistic. 200 something your local currency. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Every bit helps. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, AI really has beaten the crap out of my channel. I'm not making anywhere near as much money as I used to. Fortunately, I had already bought all the tech that I need to make the good stuff. So, but the support is gratefully appreciated. Thank you, thank you.
The room and picked up the fragments of broken glass. All the facts are out about you, said Kemp, standing up with the glass in his hand. All that happened in Epping and down the hill. The world has become aware of its invisible citizen, but no one knows you are here. The Invisible Man swore. The secret's out. I gather it was a secret. I don't know what your plans are, but of course I'm anxious to help you. The Invisible Man sat down on the bed. There's
right, so a little creaky sound there.
But of course I'm anxious to help you. The Invisible Man sat down.
Essentially, the idea is that you set the scene of wherever each scene is, okay? We're in this guy's office at the moment, so little fireplace to represent the gas lamp and the ticking clock, because I figure he'd have one, right? So that's the scene. Then on top of that, you have every little action. He walks across here, boom, so that needs footsteps. He opens a door, open the door, blah, 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 that sort of thing. So that's essentially it. One of these days, a little secret private dream of mine is to do sound work for a play live on stage and to soundscape the whole thing. So every moment of the play has, that theory, the sound bed of wherever the scene is, and then little actions as required on top. I think that would be exciting. That would be interesting. And probably incredibly difficult, and I'd mess it up a lot. So he's sitting on a bed. So what we need is like creaking. I have several creaking sounds, not ice. Metal springs on a bed. That could do it. Tree, floorboards, bed, bamboo. I've used that creaking bamboo for so many different things. You wouldn't believe how many sound effects you've heard over the years were actually that creaking bamboo. That guy. No. Can you hear why these sound effects are pretty useless? I still keep them because I sometimes play with them, but people do this all the time when they're making sound effects. They just, like they do it too much. Like, okay, we're gonna record footsteps. Ready? Clomp, 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 clomp. And no one clomps like that. No one walks like that. But you get that in a lot of sound effects. So yeah, that's too much. That's okay, but the microphone is not very good and there's a lot of background noise. Let's check this one. This one I use a lot. I've actually used this one as well, sort of slowed down a bit and with some filters put on it as a creaking ship at sea. The hull just creak, creak, you know. This is fun. Sorry. Can you see my nerdy delight when I start, you know, talking about this stuff? And yeah, I mean, this is... the fun bits of this job for me are in the booth recording the actual stuff and then getting down to the nitty gritty of the sound effects. I love that. The actual master editing, just going through the file, is it's so boring. It's so boring, but you know.
The Invisible Man sat down on the bed. There's breakfast upstairs.
Okay, so we can't have those harsh noises there. They're a bit too much. So we're going to fade out at the natural point where the sound itself is fading out a bit there. We'll zoom in a bit so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, here we'll fade in to the start of where the sound effect starts getting interesting. Right, then we have a sort of upswell and then a secondary upswell. And we're going to fade out at the second half of that swell. When it's swelling out by itself, then we'll fade out with that. It just helps it sound a bit more natural. And then it was a little bit late, wasn't it? So
the Invisible Man sat down on the bed. There's breakfast up.
All right, that fade is a little bit too obvious. Tip. So what we do is we put in another point and we just bring it out a little bit. And believe it or not, that second point on the fade out makes a huge difference on how it sounds. You have a listen.
The Invisible Man sat down on the bed. There's breakfast upstairs, right, said Kemp, speaking as easily as possible. And he was delighted to find his strange guest rose willingly.
Okay, so he gets up again right away. So all of that was wasted effort because he sits down and then go, oh, all right, I'll get up again. Now, you can't use the same sound effect twice. You can't do that. It's very naughty.
Rose willingly.
Okay. Oh, sorry, we've got another comment here. Artificial intelligence is boring. When is artificial stupidity coming out? I don't know.
Kemp led the way.
If I was smarter, I'd have a funny answer for you, but I'm not that smart, unfortunately.
Was delighted.
I'm just very good at pretending to be smart.
To find his strange guest.
That's how I got through school.
Guest rose willingly.
Okay.
Rose.
From Rose.
Willingly. Kemp led the way.
That's not a terrible little sound. It's a little bit quiet, but that's okay. We'll pick that up and see if we can find some bits there.
His guest rose willingly. Kemp led the way up the narrow staircase.
Nice. Okay, up the staircase. Here we go. Now we have a few stairs sounds. Oh my god, which one was this? Was this 1984 or Brave New World? 1984, I think. There was a lot of stairs work. Yes, that's right. There was the scene where Winston is dreaming of the old days hiding in bomb shelters with his family. We needed some stairs from that. And of course, Winston and Julia going up and down stairs to get to their little love grotto, the apartment above the shop. There was lots of that too. So I've already done quite a lot of work on stairs, fortunately. Footsteps, wooden stairs, no squeak, slower. No squeak, that was the sound effect that I was working on was someone wearing sneakers running up and down, and you could hear the sneakers squeaking. So I had to go through every footstep, and if you could hear the squeak, we delete that footstep, get rid of it, clean it up. So that's what that file is. Seriously, so much of my job is just going, that's not quite right. Let's delete that 1/10 of a second, you know, and then blend it together so it works and check the volume. Oh my god. Stairs metal descend. There we go. That's the one going down into the bunker with Winston's family. Very cool. That was tricky to find, but I was very glad to come across that one. Footsteps, wooden stairs. I think that's the original. There you go. See? A bit of a repeat you can hear. No? No, but there you go. You just had to delete the footsteps with the squeaks, you know. Stairs, wooden, no squeak. I have a blind roommate. He's very impressed with your stuff. Thanks for making it. Oh, so good. So good. Pratik Sen. When we first came to New Zealand, we stayed with a couple out in quite a fancy little cabin, which was lovely, but they were renting it for 6 weeks, which was how long we needed it. He's German and she's Swiss. So for both of them, English is their second language. And when I showed her what I did, the audiobooks, she kept calling it, it's like a theater of the blind, where we would call it theater of the mind or something like that. She was like, theater of the blind. And it's like, yeah, I can see that. I think that's actually how audiobooks started, right? They were actually books on tape for blind readers. I think that's where it all sort of began. Whereas for me, of course, I love the old BBC radio shows with all the sound effects and the music and all that sort of stuff, and I combine the two, audiobooks and radio shows. So full unabridged audiobooks with sound effects and music. That's what I love. That's what I do. But no, I'm stoked. I'm stoked that your roommate enjoys it and is impressed by it. That's high praise. If your whole world is audio and you still like what I do, super cool. Pratik Sen says, which piece of your work do you consider your best? Tricky. It's down to two. 1984, which was probably the first time I really came to grips with what I was doing, and I really dug down into every single sound effect that happened in that one. That's why it took me a year to make. And War of the Worlds would be the other one, because that was after a bit of a break. We had hired Matche, who no longer works for us, to do the editing bit, because it was so boring. Oh, I hated editing. I was burned out at the time, right? I just couldn't handle any more editing. And he was cheap and good. So, hey, excellent. And after a bit of a break, he kept working on Dracula, I think it was, which took a long time. That was a lot of work. Kudos to Matche for doing such a good job on Dracula. I could spend my efforts on luxuriating over every moment of War of the Worlds, and I was just inventing all these cool alien sound effects and battle sounds and old cannons and steamships. It was so interesting and exciting to make. And it's one of the few audiobooks that I still listen to every now and again because I just love it so much. And of course, Jet, who does a lot of my music, did musical soundscapes for a few of the chapters. She wrote the theme music for it, and I think it's chapter 4. When we first sort of meet the aliens, she did this huge, long, 10-15 minute musical piece that just, feeds the mood of the scene so well. And I loved that one. So 1984 or War of the Worlds, they would be my best, I think. I think if you ask the audience, they would say 1984. But War of the Worlds has a special place in my heart. Okay, let me show you another little trick. No squeak. Slower or full speed. Okay, well, we'll probably go slower because they're not racing or anything, right?
To the Belvedere. Before we can do anything else, said Kemp.
Okay, so we'll soften that a little bit. It's a bit loud.
The narrow staircase to the Belvedere.
Pull it
Up
back.
the narrow staircase to the Belvedere. Before we can...
But also, there's just one set of footsteps there, isn't there?
Narrow staircase to the Belvedere.
Just one person, but there's two people. What are we going to do about that, Steve? Steve! There's only one person. We're going to double it up. And to make sure it sounds a bit different, because you can't just play the same sound effect twice, we'll start it at a different point in the sound effect, and we're going to alter the speed just a little bit. And that will change not just the speed, but the pitch. Sorry, I'll show you that again. If you see here in the middle, maintain audio pitch, I never play with that because it's horrible. The software they use here, it just messes with the sound effect too much. But if we do this, you'll hear...
Up the narrow staircase to the Belvedere. Before we can do anything else,
two people all of a sudden, right?
Understand a little more about this invisibility of yours. He had sat...
Okay, so I better finish about there, getting to their room. Let's fade that one out there and fade this one out here. There we go.
Way up the narrow staircase to the Belvedere. Before we can do anything else, said Kemp, I must understand a little more about this invisibility of yours. He had sat down.
All right, so by that time they're already in the room. Now this is a rare time when I'm going to add a sound effect that's not there. It's not actually described in the book, but I think a little a door opening would be quite nice. So I'm going to get this jiggle, which was my old front door in Prospect. Lovely old 100-year-old oak door with still the original brass door handle and everything. So it sounds great. I just love it. I got a lot of sound effects in that place. And then a door open. I still don't have many good door opening sound effects. A lot of them are way too modern. Right, now that's okay if we combined it with the jiggle. You see what I mean? Get rid of that first sound. Why does it take you so long to put out audiobooks, Steve? Because I'm extremely uptight.
Of yours, he had sat.
I keep doing stuff like this. If you haven't heard the SPA podcast, it's worth it for some of the stories about this stuff.
This invisibility of yours, he had sat down.
See, isn't that nice? What a nice little combo. Just we'll mute that for a moment so you can hear.
Visibility of yours, he had sat down.
It's a good combo. It's a good combo. Okay, so he sits at a chair. I really only have two. There's this one that's a very fat leather couch. And again, he overdoes it. He, she, whoever made that sound effect, overdoes the sound effects. Well, there's this one. Which is my old computer chair in Prospect in my first office. So we'll take the leather, but we're going to cut it up pretty fiercely. Find a good bit. I like the look of that little bit of the sound. That looks good to me.
Of yours, he had sat down after one nervous. Of yours, he had sat down after one nervous glance out of the window with the...
Okay, make sure that's fading out.
He had sat down after one nervous glance out of the window with the air of a man who has talking to do. His doubts of the sanity of the entire business flashed and vanished again as he looked across to where Griffin sat at the breakfast table. A headless, handless dressing gown, wiping unseen lips on a miraculously held serviette. It's simple enough and credible.
Okay, so they are eating there. I believe I have a little bit of that. Right, it's not much good by itself, but if we combine it with, is it this one? No. That one? No. That's the speech. No, too much speech. It might even be this one. That's it. Okay. Can't use all of it because it's literally going through like some old lady's crockery cupboard or something like that. So there's a lot of like plastic wrapping and that sort of thing. But we bring down these volumes.
With the air of a man who has talking to do. His doubts of the sanity of the entire business flashed and vanished again as he looked across to where Griffin sat at the breakfast table. A headless, handless dressing gown.
We're going to fade it a bit.
And vanished again as he looked across to where Griffin sat at the breakfast table. A headless, handless dressing gown, wiping unseen lips.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. You, not so much.
As he looked across to where Griffin sat at the breakfast table. A headless, handless dressing gown, wiping unseen lips on a miraculously held serviette. It's
You and you. There we go. So they've had their breakfast. Now, that's one other little change we have to do. And this is tricky because we're in a different room, aren't we? So the scene has changed a bit. How are we going to indicate that? The coming up with the ambient sound in, different rooms can be one of the trickiest things. Fire is an easy way to do it, of course. They are in England. It's going to be cold. I just messed up that cut, didn't I? Yep. Okay. All right, so we'll get rid of that. We're going to move.
of yours. He had sat down after one note.
Right. So it should be right. They're leaving there, walking up the stairs. That's fine. The actual walking can be the ambience there, but here they open the door to the new room. So we'll have a different fireplace. Fortunately, most of the protagonists in H.G. Wells stories are rich English people, so they have servants all over the place, which is no problem. And we could have a different clock. Might just see how it sounds without it. How about a room without a clock in it? Hey.
He had sat down after one nervous glance out of the window with the air of a man who has...
Right. Which one is
yours?
There we go. So we need that there. When he opens the door.
Of yours? He had sat down after one nervous glance out of the window with the air of a man who has talking to... Of yours?
Again, let it sit up high to set the scene for a bit and then fade it out so it's not interfering.
He had sat down after one nervous glance out of the window with the air of a man who has talking to do. His doubts of the sanity of the entire business flashed and vanished again as he looked across to where Griffin sat at the breakfast table, a headless, handless dressing gown, wiping unseen lips on a miraculously held serviette.
I think the rest of this, let's just save, because it's being a little bit wobbly. I wouldn't want it to crash and for us to lose all our work. I think a lot of the rest of this is just him talking.
It's simple enough.
So there won't be a lot of sound effects,
said Griffin, putting the serviette aside and leaning the invisible head on an invisible hand. No doubt to you, but Kemp laughed. Well, yes, to me it seemed wonderful at first, no doubt, but now, great God. But we will do great things yet. I came on the stuff first at Chesiltoe. I went there after I left London. You know, I dropped medicine and took up physics. No? Well, I did. Light fascinated me.
Right. Why is that all?
Robbed my father. The money was not his, and he shot himself.
What does that mean? What's that? Wait, isn't that the end of that chapter? I think it is. I've gotten rid of it, haven't I? Dang it. Fool, fool, fool. Yes, I have a habit of cleaning things up too quickly before I'm really finished with them. Okay. Gutenberg.org. If you want public domain texts, this is the place to go. Time Machine, War of the Worlds, The Invisible Man, A Grotesque Romance. There you go, and we're going to put that back. It doesn't matter, we'll put it there for the moment. All right. Gutenberg.org. You will have versions in your own countries if you don't live in the States, but the States sort of runs. I mean, if they had their way, they would run global copyright. There you go. And he shot himself. That's what I thought. That's the end of the file.
The money was not his, and he shot himself.
Money was not his, and he shot himself. Yep, that's the end of that chapter. Okay, I'm not sure why all that extra file is there, but we will get rid of it. Boom! There you go. Now it is no longer there. All right. Now, since the rest of that chapter is just the Invisible Man telling a story, it doesn't require any sound effects at all that aren't already there. Fade that out as the music comes in.
I found that to complete it was impossible. Impossible. How? Asked Kemp. Money, said the Invisible Man, and went again to stare out of the window. He turned around abruptly. I robbed the old man. I robbed...
Right, it's coming in a bit loud. That's okay. Sometimes we have to do this. So we raise the volume on the narration a bit to compensate for the music.
I robbed the old man. I robbed my father. The money was not his, and he shot himself.
Okay. Well, that's a little bit late, isn't it? Boop. No, that's too far. Okay.
And he shot himself.
There we go. Okay. Oh, comment. This is a username 1515. Just wanted to say your War of the Worlds audiobook is one of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to. Thank you very much. Yeah, it really does have a special place in my heart, that one. Yeah. I mean, there's a few that do for different reasons. Brave New, well, all right. Treasure Island, which is not great, was the first full novel I ever did, and I did that on the old radio show that I used to do in Adelaide, my home city. Just community radio, nothing serious. But they gave me my own show from 11 p.m. till 1 in the morning. That much desired time slot. Yeah. So, of course, they said I could do whatever I wanted with it. So I read audiobooks, and I read that out live on the air. Yeah, that became the first audiobook. And I loved it so much that I bought a Yeti Blue microphone and made The Island of Dr. Moreau back at home. That was the first one I made in my home studio. Very much learning the craft then. No sound effects for that one, I don't think. I was still just learning how to cut out, bad bits of text and whatnot. And then I asked my wife what she wanted to hear, and she chose Brave New World. Because in Australia, where I come from, Brave New World and 1984 both entered the public domain. And I was like, I'm interested in both of these books. Which one would you like to hear? And she had studied 1984 in high school, of course, so she chose Brave New World. And that was the one where my channel really started picking up listeners. People started coming along to listen to that one as each chapter was released every week. And then I did 1984, and that, boom. So all of those are sort of, special for different reasons. But yeah. War of the Worlds, very special to me. I feel sorry for Griffin. Keep listening, keep reading. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Do you still use Yeti? This book that I'm currently editing, The Invisible Man, will be the last one with the Yeti, because I have now bought a fantastic new microphone, because I was recording some announcements for a local theatre group here in New Zealand, and the sound girl that was working on it could hear right away, "Oh, are you using a USB microphone?" And I'm like, "Yes. How did you pick that up so quickly?" And it's a quality thing that like professional engineers can just hear it right away. So at that moment, I decided, okay, it's time for an upgrade, because I want to be able to do more professional work, and yeah. The old Yeti, like, I love it. I love it. Every book I've ever made has been through the Yeti Blue. And it's still a great mic, great like mid-level mic, but I want to go beyond mid-level, so I've gotten a new one. This username says, the way the tripods are described is really interesting. Yeah, absolutely right. I love that. I love that. I did get a few comments of people not quite getting the point, where they'd be like, "Oh, those aliens wouldn't stand up to modern technology." It's like, well, it was modern technology at the time. They wouldn't be facing that now. They would be facing all the, whatever the new stuff is, fancy missiles and whatnot. But the big old cannons and that sort of thing, that was the super high tech at the time. So yeah, I really like that. Also, the sounds of the sort of hydraulic and metallic engineering is actually surgical equipment, pneumatic surgical equipment, that are sort of manipulated and slowed down and put some special effects on and that sort of thing. So yeah, I really love doing that sort of thing. Just playing with sound effects, making them work. I'll show you a little bit while we're waiting for this rendering. A little bit of my sound effects folder, because it's so well organized. That's probably gonna have my head over most of it. An ad Are there ads playing over this? Oh, I didn't know. Whoops. Don't have to worry about that on my other channels because they're not monetized. But on this one, apparently, they've decided advertisements. This username again. A thing I dislike is no adaptations of the books are set back then and they're all set in modern America. Yeah, right? Totally, 100%. Like that Tom Cruise film was kind of dreadful for that reason, I think. And they made it just a big action, wah, type thing. So, yeah. Yeah, I agree. But it's an unfortunate commentary on the state of like modern entertainment that you have to kind of minimize the amount of imagination required from the audience a lot of the time. That's why big flashbang superhero explosion movies will always sell better than well-crafted stories, that require a bit more thought and stuff. Even though they might be better. They might be better films. I've recently started really getting into some of those kind of artsy films, and some of the classic old cinema. But big Marvel movies and stuff will always sell better. Explosion 7, The Embomining, or whatever, will always do better for a lot of the audience. Because it's just escapism. They don't want to go in and work, do some brain work while undertaking their escapism. They're just doing it for different reasons. That's all. Tuna Whale 8625 says, I like uplifting Big Brother music. He inspires us all. That was all Jet, of course, the wonderful Jet on SoundCloud, who does all my good music. You can tell when Jet does the music because it sounds great. And if it sounds, like a middle-aged guy on his guitar noodling around in his studio, well, that's me. Yeah. All right, let's have a look through this sound effects file. You can see I have tried my best to organize, all of these sound effects, but there's so many. Let's have a look. How big is the 23 gig, nearly 24 gig of just sound effects? I've gathered a lot over the years. Some of them I've made myself. Some of them I have gathered from, places like freesound.org. If you're looking for sound effects, freesound.org is a great source for you. Yeah. A bunch of different animal sounds that I've needed over the years. Look at that. So many. Dogs are actually really hard to find. Good sound effects for dogs. Difficult. Username again. All the H.G. Wells books are remembered for the monsters and not the actual book. A lot of the time, yeah, right? And not just Wells, like a lot of the other ones as well. Like, I was amazed when we made Dracula by Bram Stoker, how little Dracula is in the book. The actual guy, Dracula, the vampire, is hardly in that book, but he's what everyone remember. And Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, of course. I mean, that's not so much the case. Frankenstein's in like half the book. But if you look at any movie adaptations, they've almost got nothing at all to do with the book. Like they're barely in it. They're based on rather than made from, uplifting Big Brother music is GOAT. Yeah. I bet I've got it. Wait, in music. Let's see, Jet, it might be there. Is it in there? You would recognize all of these songs, all of them, from my various words. Big Brother Jet, here's one. She does good music. I love it. On this one, this is from the 12 Minutes of Hate. B, 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 B. I asked her to make this for me, and this is what she came up with. Just amazing. I love Jet. She's the best. She is the best. Yeah, look at all this music. All this music that I've had to use over the years. Wow. People. Oh, that's like crowds and stuff like that. Yeah, so many there. Places, so many of just like the setting the scenes in chapters have come from this folder right here. And some of them you'll find like a town, Victorian. How did you find a Victorian town? Some of them are video games because they have deals with YouTube where, of course, you can use their sound because you have to. All the gameplay channels out there need that. So as long as you don't go too overboard, you can sort of use some of those sounds, which is great. Yeah. Oh man. Score. Oh, look at that. Some of the old like soundtrack stuff that I've made. Okay, cool. That's some great stuff. Under the spreading chestnut tree. I actually made a how to play that one at one point. Silver Platter audio files. That's one of the few files that I've gone out and actually bought, and I've hardly used any of them. Oh, well, there you go. All right, is that one finished? Yes, it has. Good, good, good. Okay, let's put out the MP3 version. I mean, that's pretty much it as far as this chapter is concerned. Unfortunately, you've come in at the end of The Invisible Man, and that's basically where Griffin, the Invisible Man, is telling his tale. So, yeah. There's not a lot. Oh, wait. No. I have to make a change there because on the end of the video, all YouTube videos, right, you've got that 20-second point where you've got the click on this video, click on that video. I don't like that to be over the actual audiobook, so I have like 20 minutes of music or whatever at the end. You can't have that on the end of an MP3 that like the patrons download to keep. So I trim the music. Right, so just before that piano melody thing comes in again, I back a little bit from there, and we'll fade it out. Dim-biddy-dum. I do try and make sure that like the YouTube members and the patrons get something to make it worth them actually laying down the money. You know, it's not about you know, punishing the free YouTube audience, but I love them too. Sitting through ads helps pay the bills and all that sort of stuff. You know, I have nothing against them, but for the people who do actually put money down, you have to try and make sure they get something for it. So the patrons get to download MP3s and keep them, you know, for $12 a year. If you keep up to date and download it, you get everything I make. Everything I make that year for $12. Amazing. Considering, you know, most of my books are around the $10 mark. Longer ones cost more, but most of them are about $10. So for 12, you get everything I made that year. That's pretty cool. Tim Noise FX. The YouTube members don't get that. Instead of being able to download stuff, they get to like listen to it for longer. How am I going to explain this? How do you explain it when you're an idiot? I'm a bit of an idiot, I'm afraid. Like it gets released to the YouTube members earlier, and then they keep access to it right up until it goes public for the free-to-air audience, and they can keep listening to it all the way through. So at the moment, like the YouTube members who pay $5 a month, I think it is, they have all of the current book, Around the World in 80 Days by Tim Williams. Very cool. And the Great Gatsby, and they're currently listening to The Invisible Man. So they have access to all of that, and always will, but they get it, first. So yeah, trying to make sure that the paying folks get bang for their buck. Yeah. All right. So this is the no SFX version that we're putting together now. So we delete all the music, all the everything. We'll just line that up at the end. Pull that across. Now we have to make sure we remember to delete the fade up. Remember how we made it fade up? There we go. Because the music was drowning it out a little bit, right?
My father.
They don't need that.
The money was not his, and he shot himself.
There we go. Okay. Bring, ding, ding. Bring, diggy, ding. Okay. Export. Chapter 19. No sound effects. There we go. MP3 shouldn't take too long. And then we do the video. And then we're done. And I don't know if you found this interesting or whatever. Might come back tomorrow or the day after. No, Wednesday, I think, a couple of days from now. I'll come back and do chapter 20. Why are you taking so long? I'm going to have to spend a day fixing Premiere Pro again. This program. It's not great. Honestly. I mean, it can do some amazing things. It really, really can. But, man, it's wobbly. Yeah, all right. I don't think we need to sit here. Whoa! Keyboard squeaking. Encoding video start. You don't need the video. That was the MP3. All right, there you go. There's the video. All right, there we go. Lovely. Okay, so that's it. That's chapter 19 in the can. Just have to go and upload that, get it all ready for everybody, the YouTube member, because we are up to date now because we had to move house and whatnot. You probably wouldn't recognize it, but yeah, this is a new house that we've had to move into. I fell a bit behind with my work. So, yeah, this is chapter 9, which goes live for the YouTube members and patrons next week on Monday. So there you go. Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Appreciate that. Thank you for joining. There we go. Hey, how are you? All right. My God. I need to shave. Anyway, there you go. That's needlepoint that my wife stitched for me. How cool is that? There's some knickknacks from Japan, and there, there we go. That's my old Yeti Blue microphone, which will now be used for Alice streaming her crafty things and whatnot, which is super, super cool. And you can't see, oh gosh, back to front. There's my guitar amp, but my guitar has not even been placed yet. This is how freshly we're in our new house. Okay, I'm going to switch to another screen. We'll see if this works. I'm not sure if it will. Hello, can you still hear me? Yes, good. Okay, there we go. So thank you very much for coming along. I hope you found this interesting or informative or whatever. I do appreciate all your support. Thank you, Pratik Sen, for your gift of 200 whatever that currency is. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm not great at foreign currency. And we'll see you next time we do one of these. Okay? Have yourselves a great day, and we'll see you later on. Bye, 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 bye.